Do not fall for these psychological tricks. Not from political figures, not from famous people, and certainly not from your closest friends and family. This episode is a manipulator's worst nightmare because I'm going to be teaching you exactly how to spot a manipulator and how to respond to one. Have you ever felt crazy when exiting a conversation with someone? You literally feel like, what even just happened? You went in with an expectation of how the conversation was going to go, and you left feeling drained and emptied because you realized you didn't know how to defend yourself against their manipulation tactics. This messes you up psychologically. You'll start to doubt yourself. You'll start to look in the mirror and think, am I a strong person? It's not you. These people are just really, really good because they've studied this. They've researched how to manipulate others. And what's the most fascinating about these people is they have charisma. Everyone seems to love them. You don't think that's happening to you. It can't be them. It's me. Which is what made you click on this video today. If you're new here, hello. This is the Improvement for Imbeciles podcast. My name is Natalie. This is where I share ways I'm getting my shit together so that you can get your shit together. We've all been there. Okay, we've all been there where we're dealing with someone who knows how to communicate and knows how to flip a script. And I'm going to tell you how to flip that script right back onto them because you need to play the game or the game plays you. Here are 10 common tactics people might be using on you in order to persuade you into doing something that you never intended to do. Now, let's be honest, interpersonally, I don't think people are intentionally using these strategies, especially when it comes to your closest friends and family members. But knowledge is power, and the more knowledge you have against manipulation tactics, the more you're able to maneuver around them and call people out on their bullshit. Before we get into everything, you need to be on high alert in these scenarios. Number 1. Is someone trying to get money out of you? If you are in any sales setting, people are using these tactics on you 1000%. Also, keep in mind, in the digital age, you're not only being sold to by these salesmen that you see in the store. You are being sold to on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. If I had an ad placement in this video, this would be a great time for it, but luckily, this video doesn't have an ad placement. You're welcome. And it's perfectly okay to sometimes fall for a good sales pitch because let's be honest, some of these salesmen get you, but you need to categorize what they're selling to you as either a want or a need. Also, be sure to ask yourself if the price matches the value this thing or whatever service is providing to you. And I'm not gonna lie, some of you might roll your eyes at me when you hear this, but today's episode, we're gonna be talking all about fallacies, ethos, logos, and pathos. Yes, bestie, we're back in 10th grade English because honestly, these are some really important things to learn. Like, out of everything I learned in high school, this was the most important, and I feel like it's looked over so much. The reason we divide things into categories like ethos, logos, and pathos is because our brain responds to what we can feel, what we can think and rationalize, and whoever has taught us how to rationalize and how to think. Our culture and the way we grew up completely shapes the way we interact with others and any biases we might have. Anybody can be manipulated, but knowledge is power. Briefly, let's talk about ethos. That is an appeal to credibility. Manipulators often exploit ethos by presenting themselves as an authority of some sort. They might even come across as an expert because they're holding a microphone and talking about things on the internet. No, but seriously, nowadays, like, anyone can go on the internet with a microphone like this and talk some BS, and a lot of people believe it. But that's precisely why on the Improvement for Imbeciles podcast, I specifically say this is where I share ways I'm getting my shit together so that you can get your shit together. I share my perspectives on the world, and hopefully some people find that helpful, but honestly, I'm just a girl in her early 20s trying to figure things out, and this is what I've noticed has helped me. Getting educated on how people can manipulate me, and using that to my benefit. People who use ethos might name drop really influential people or say that they went to some super prestigious school, which makes them more credible to talk about a certain thing. I mean, this is literally why doctors that went to Harvard get paid more than those that just went to a regular college. While both have the same credentials, one is weighed more heavily in society. A good way to counter this is to really be skeptical of people's credentials, especially nowadays with the internet. Allow yourself to see someone's someone's authenticity or see actual results with someone before you just give them your money. Don't just blindly follow someone who is placed in authority. Really look at their actions. And something that really helps me is sometimes we tend to place strangers on some sort of moral hierarchy. Ask yourself if you're doing that, even when it comes to people's opinions. For example, you might tend to view parents or teachers or people who are a little bit older than you as morally superior, even though you don't know them. I feel like I sometimes do this when it comes to people who are my parents' age watching my videos. I love you if you're here. Hello, hi. But sometimes I get a little bit scared because I'm so young talking about the things I'm talking about, and somehow I think of them as morally superior. This is a natural inclination to kind of appeal to ethos, you know? This idea that they're more credible just because they're older than me, which is complete nonsense, especially when you get into the real world. So make sure you give credit to yourself and put yourself as an authority in your own life first and foremost, because when you see yourself as an authority of your own life, you'll see who really has the power when it comes to things like what you believe, what you choose to buy, whose opinion you decide to really rely on. Moving on, let's talk about an appeal to pathos, which is an appeal to emotion. Look, I hate to say this, but you need to control your emotions, especially when it comes to a manipulator. Manipulators are very skilled at making you feel certain emotions, and they might do this by appealing to them. And they'll do this in very sneaky ways. They'll do something negative to you, and then all of a sudden you're apologizing to them. That's how messed in the head these people will make you feel. Now, on a day-to-day basis, a lot of people use an appeal to pathos. For example, you might tell your friend, I miss you so much, I'm literally dying without you, I'm literally crying without you. You might tell someone that you are feeling a lot of emotions in order to gain their attention or hang out with them in some way. Now, this isn't a really serious way to use this manipulation tactic, but what I need you to do is pay attention to when people over-compliment you when they ask you to do something. The best way to spot a manipulator is they will start complimenting you and say, you're the best person in the world, I love how you do this. They will gratify your ego, and then they will ask you for something. Pay very close attention to when people love bomb you or bombard you with good compliments that make you feel good about yourself, and then ask you for something. Once you say no and say, oh, I actually don't want to do that, this person might say, you're inconsiderate, look at everything I did for you. Will start gaslighting you and saying that you said that you would do that. We're gonna get into those manipulation techniques later, but like, they will use every single one in the book. It's wild. They might even ask you to do something that they already know you're not okay with. Be very, very careful of people who start to tear you down as soon as you enforce a boundary or say no to something. But another thing to look out for is they'll shift blame. They'll point out your emotions to their mistreatment as the actual problem. All of a sudden, you're apologizing for your behavior when their negative behavior is what made you have that reaction. The solution for this is you need to be a very, very strong person with your emotions. You need to control your emotions. I can't count how many times I've been in an argument with someone and I lost my cool, which then made me lose the argument. Because the second that you lose your cool and you start attacking the person, they won. Okay, so you need to keep your composure and really understand what's going on. For the women listening into this episode, I know it's very hard. Sometimes it's easy to get all in our emotions, but it gets better over time. We have emotions and that can be used to our benefit. But when we're in a very serious situation, redirect that emotion later. Find an outlet. This is the best way when you know your weakness is pathos, right? Like you get manipulated by other people's emotions. But having an outlet will allow you to control them in the times it's necessary, which is when someone is manipulating you. You can spot it. It's so funny because the more you don't react to someone who's trying to get a rise out of you, the angrier they get, the more emotional they get, and they'll start projecting it onto you. It's crazy. You'll really see this person for who they really are and believe it. Believe someone when they show you their hand. Believe someone when they show you how they react to you setting a boundary. Believe it. Oh, they're just having a bad day. No, babe. Like, if they haven't apologized to you and shown you changed behavior, they're never going to change. Dead it. please, for your own good. Another thing that's really important is to take an objective look at the situation and realize the ways that you might be manipulating other people with pathos. Because sometimes we were raised that in order to get our needs met, we have to appeal to someone's emotions. We have to put our emotions onto other people, and that's not okay either. And finally, number 3, we're going to be talking about an appeal to logos, which is logic. This is the facts. This is the receipts. This is the tea. And if you're like me, you might think that common sense is like really common, but honestly, a lot of people don't know common sense. And when you explain to someone a logical argument, they will ignore statistics and facts and instead believe in their personal experiences, which results in cognitive bias. People are more likely to favor statistics that already confirm their own biases. This psychological fact goes for everything in life. Your beliefs are literally being confirmed through your reality. That is how powerful confirmation bias really is. Manipulators usually choose specific facts and statistics in order to make their argument seem more valid while completely ignoring valid statistics. And this doesn't really matter when it comes to people's political opinions or religious beliefs, but if someone is trying to make you base a decision off of statistics or certain things that they've experienced, tell someone that you need more time in order to really research. There is nothing wrong with taking time you need in order to make the decisions that's best for you. A lot of people will hit you with all 3 at once, ethos, logos, and pathos, and somehow you'll end up doing whatever they say. It's okay to have your own mind. Don't let anyone take it away from you. We're now going to move into certain fallacies that manipulators love to use in order to persuade you to do whatever they want. Number 1, they'll just talk in circles, right? They'll just talk about things that aren't even relevant to the conversation. Beware of people who cannot stay on topic. They'll often take what you're actually saying and completely misrepresent it, which is another fallacy. People will usually do this when you're trying to set a boundary and they don't like the boundary. For example, hey, I need you to do this. Do what? It's not my fault that you didn't do it. In fact, remember last week when you didn't do this for me? Also, remember this other time? Like, why did you do this and that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they will completely derail the conversation. You'll try to talk about one specific thing and they will bring up all of these different past things that you've maybe already resolved. Beware of people who constantly bring up the past into the future, because oftentimes people won't actually allow your mistakes to be mistakes. They will take them and then they'll run with them and use them for leverage when you need to set a boundary. Ask if this person is trying to find the solution or if they're trying to avoid the problem. Talking in circles will make you feel like you're going crazy. Like, literally, it'll make you feel like you're going crazy. Oftentimes, people will pair talking in circles with gaslighting. If all of these other things are happening at the same exact time, you need to run. Like, you need to run. I'm not even joking when I say this. These individuals have the power to make you apologize for existing. Have you apologize for things that are literally their fault. Moving on, an ad hominem is when someone attacks you instead of the actual issue. One of the biggest ways manipulators will do this is they will question your intelligence. They might also question your memory. This person will literally say that you are incapable without even saying you're incapable. For example, this is the first one that came to my head, but when Trump was like, I don't know what he's saying, and I don't even think he knows what he's saying.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I try to avoid political samples when it comes to stuff like this, but if you want to know all of the fallacies, just listen to a debate, okay? Listen to the political debates that are going on right now. Each side just takes hits at each other. Like, there's so many ad hominems, they just attack each other and call each other stupid and question their intelligence or capabilities. And let's be honest, it's a little bit entertaining. Number 3 is a false dilemma. Someone will present you with 2 options when way more options exist. These are often used in manipulative ultimatums. So a manipulator will say,
it's either it's me or it's them.
Manipulators will use this when you're trying to set a boundary. So for example, let's say you want someone to be home by 8.
So it's either I have to be home at 8 or I just don't get to come home. I guess I just won't go to work today. I guess you just don't want me to work today because I have to be home at 8 o'clock.
Obviously there's so many nuances, but that's pretty much what will happen when you try to set a boundary with a manipulator, and they will completely flip it and use these extreme scenarios in order to make you go, no, that's not what I'm saying. They know what the boundary is. They're not stupid. They're not trying to find a solution. They are trying to put you in a situation to explain yourself over and over and over again, and their goal is to emotionally exhaust you into acceptance. You need to reject this behavior. You'll just give up because you're emotionally exhausted and you don't feel like repeating yourself over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden, they're gonna come up to you and be like, "I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I love you." No. Okay, no. But no, babe. Next, we're going to talk about an appeal to pity. Someone will want you to pity them by saying a sob story. So you will say, "Hey, I don't want you to do this." And then all of a sudden, they're talking about their dead grandpa. Babe. I'm sorry, so many women have been put in a situation where a man cheats and then all of a sudden he's crying about his dead grandma or something. Like, y'all can't be falling for this. Don't fall for the appeal to pity. Not my problem. That's just not my problem. Number 5, hasty generalization. People will generalize an entire situation and not use nuance and draw conclusions based on limited information. I feel like this is more in a broad context. I feel like a lot of times people will make hasty generalizations based on a social group or things of that nature, but I think it's something to beware of, that you don't want someone who just jumps to conclusions and doesn't really know how to expand their own mind. This really does go into cognitive bias a lot. I feel like a lot of people will make hasty generalizations because of bias. So the more that you're aware of your own bias within situations, the easier it'll be to clock yourself and realize when you're generalizing and you need to back off. Next, we're going to talk about the bandwagon fallacy. This is, everyone else is doing it, that means I should do it. Baby. But no, seriously, I think this happens more so with triangulation though. 3 people will be really close to each other and there's always one person who's kind of more so outside the group. This outside individual has this perceived closeness with the 2 friends, but in reality, the 3rd person who often gets left out of the group will often feel like they have to go along with anything other people say. A solution for this is to be sure you're your own person and don't allow people to triangulate you and try to pin people up against you. This will often happen with friends putting you in the middle of a situation or saying like, you can't be friends with them because I don't like them. You can make your own decisions. Other people's decisions are their business and your decisions are also your business. The more you make decisions on your own, the easier it'll be to avoid people who try to pit you up against other people. Number 7, we're going to talk about a false clause. This is basically when someone assumes that there is a cause and effect relationship when there's none that exist. You only want to be friends with them after I started being friends with them. You're just copying me. You just don't know how to be your own person. Or basically make it seem like something that is completely uncorrelated to the issue is correlated to it. You only have a problem with me because you talk to your friends. Like, what? No, babe. Like, and this also means that this person will see your ideas as not your own ideas, which is a huge red flag. You need to be your own individual person, and you also need to keep some things private in your life. And this is why I say to be secret about whatever is going on in your life. Because when people do this stuff to you, you can be like, absolutely not. I make my own decisions, and I was thinking about this, and I didn't even include other people into this. You'll go back to the actual point of the conversation rather than having this person manipulate you because they think your friends manipulated you. Number 8, a slippery slope. This is kind of like the false dilemma, except it's just one result. For example, a lot of manipulators will be like,
If you go out with your friends, that means you're gonna cheat on me.
but this is a fear-based manipulation tactic. People are betting on the fact that you are fearful of whatever thing that they are thinking is going to happen, when in reality, that's their fear. They are projecting their fear onto you, and they're appealing to your emotions as well by making it seem like you should fear that as well. You are not someone else's insecurities. If someone can't trust you, that is not a personal issue. They need to do some healing within themselves and learn how to trust other people before entering into any type of relationship, especially if it's a romantic relationship. Don't let a manipulator try to control you based on what they think is gonna happen. Your character should speak for itself. Number 10, we're gonna talk about a straw man argument, which is basically, they don't even care what you're talking about. okay? They are purposefully misrepresenting your position. Manipulators will often use this by saying, well, I guess you don't love me, or something like that, but oftentimes they will misrepresent your argument and make it seem like your argument is something completely different than it is, but it'll be enough to where it seems similar. It's easier to attack someone's argument that's a similar argument instead of what they're actually saying. With that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Improvement for Imbeciles podcast. To finally end this episode, I really just wanted to say, be aware of your own manipulation techniques, okay? Because the more aware of how you try to manipulate in a situation, the easier it'll be to spot it within someone else, because we all have our own needs. Manipulation is taught, and while people can consciously manipulate, we can also unconsciously manipulate other people. Every single person can do the tactics that I told you guys in today's episode. You don't have to be some manipulator narcissist in order to have the power to manipulate someone. And that's the scariest thing, because you need to explore your own shadow side in order to really understand the type of person you are and the type of person you want to be around. You need to understand that you do have the capacity to do bad in order to want to do good, in order to want to stand on your values, in order to want to be a good person. A good way to tell if someone isn't a manipulator is they take accountability when they do wrong, and they also change their behavior. Accountability without changed behavior is manipulation. So if someone says sorry to you over and over and over again, they're not actually sorry. They're just trying to manipulate you out of whatever they were getting out of you. But either way, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you guys for being here for me through everything. So be sure to like this video, subscribe, check me out on social media. I just got a new TikTok and Instagram where I post specifically podcast clips. So if you guys want these short clips from my podcast, be sure to go check it out. I'm really trying to experiment with different types of content. If you're tuning in on Apple Podcast or Spotify, be sure to give me a rating. It really, really helps. And with that being said, you guys, I'll see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.